Let's talk about the fact that you're an architect primarily, but you've turned developer.
The architects make very good developers in that they're very comfortable with or having always sold the vision. The progression from that is something I'm very comfortable with.
You haven't left architecture. What you've actually done is you're still doing very high-end architecture in terms of houses. That kind of then resonates back through your own projects which you're creating, which are owner-occupied. They are at a high level of spec.
What I found myself doing was finding sites and finding projects and taking it to other developers and saying, oh, we should do this and this and this. Can I have a job to do this? And they would go, oh, look, I don't think that'll work, or I don't think that's the right thing. And I'd sit there and think, well, I disagree. Part of becoming a developer is that you can create those opportunities for yourself and do the buildings that you have always aspired to do as an architect.
Well, what I've seen as a salesperson is I meet with architects and you have this grand idea of what a project's going to look like, and then it gets passed down the line to the developer and they go, that's great, but we want to replace the Ferrari with the Hyundai. I think that's what we need to talk about, is that this project is going to be maintained in a level of finish and fixture that is set from the beginning. It's not going to be watered down, it's not going to be replaced.
Yeah, it's also one of the major frustrations as an architect, particularly in high-end residential and off-the-plan projects. And we've seen it a few times and we've quickly cut those clients and got rid of them from our lives. If you've got a kind of commitment to quality and your buyers expect that, you've really got to deliver on that promise.
I think one of the best-selling features of this that the buyers have really resonated with is the fact that they know that you've got skin in the game. They know that this is not just a Joe Adset design, this is Joe Adset building. You've actually created a brand around your architecture which then resonates in the development. So it's very important for you to make good on what you design and to deliver what you promise you're going to deliver. And I mean, that's your reputation, isn't it?
Yeah, reputation is everything, and you spend a whole career earning that reputation, and it takes a second to lose it, and particularly in a place as small as Brisbane.
One of the things that you'll see is the CGIs, which is a product that you've created in-house, which we'll talk about, but the CGIs of it, we find that people come into the display, and they look at this kitchen, which we're standing in, and they sort of go, oh, well, that's a photo of the kitchen, and we go, well, no, actually, that there is a CGI which was created way before this kitchen was ever created. But the fact that the absolute photo realness of it in both senses of how good the CGI is, but how also close to the design you've created, really stands up to the fact that what you are promising is what is going to be delivered.
Yeah, and that gives me a lot of confidence as the author of the design. So we developed that technology more as a design tool. We wanted to strenuously kind of test our ideas before we committed to them. The old days of being an architect, which I was formally trained in, was hand drawing with the tie over the shoulder so you didn't get ink on your tie and things like that. And really, you had no idea what the building would look like until you built it. And that has fundamentally changed, particularly in the last 5 years with the advent of computer rendering and softwares, to the point now where it's so real that we can't distinguish between what is a photograph and what is an illustration. And having that illustration technology in-house, that translates beautifully to our purchasers and also our clients in traditional form of architecture, where we say, well, look, this is what it's going to look like.
And the renders and the actual finished product, if you put them side by side, apart from the growth of the trees and the plants at a certain time, they are identical. So I think that's a real credit to you and to your firm.
Thank you.
Because that is something that's really important, because so many times people buy after plan and they're so disappointed come completion because what they're promised is not delivered, and that is not what you're going to do.
And it's important that the point in which we make those decisions about the illustrations, that they're actually informed. And so what you see a lot of the time is many projects where people will get a separate artist or illustration expert in China or something to do an illustration. It looks nothing like the end result. We've actually modelled everything one-to-one, scanned in textures of marbles that we're actually using in the project, and that informs the actual illustration itself, because we do control that in-house. Often it's the team that's working on the exact project that is also producing the illustrations in-house. So it's a very informed, realistic expectation that people can rely upon.